sir.
I call the Kitty Hawk Town Council to order February 3rd, 2014 at Kitty Hawk Town Hall. It is now 6 p.m. All right, would everyone, well, first I want to welcome you out. I see some folks I haven't seen before. Thank you for coming to the town council meeting. For those looking at home, we appreciate your attendance. We always appreciate you attending to your business. If everyone will join me with a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have some presentations and recognitions. We'll do those now. Chief Johnson, would you please do that?
Have Brian and Chad come up, please. Some of y'all are familiar with these officers. They've been with us for a while, but I just want to kind of give you a brief overview of their career leading up to this. Chad has been with us. He started with us in college when he was attending college at UNCW as a criminal justice student, and he started when we had the seasonal beach patrol on the four-wheeler. He was, his father was a principal in Camden at the time, and he was coming down here and working for us at the time. And when he graduated, he came to work for us at the police department, attended the basic law enforcement training at COA. So that's worked out good for us. Chad is dynamite. He's a great officer. He's been with us over 7 years now, and he's achieved this advanced law enforcement certification through having his college degree and through attending numerous training events. I would say probably close to 1,000 hours of training that they received through the North Carolina Justice Academy. Brian Tyler, he recently completed his 5th year with us, but he has over 7 years experience. He's a resident of Currituck County and a native of Currituck County, U.S. Army combat veteran, great guy, and he's also received this. He's close to completing his associate's degree. He'll soon do that. And Brian's, well, as we saw Chad's wife, and his new arrival is back in the corner there, Beckett, future patrolman, hopefully. And then Brian's wife is in the back, and his wife is also expecting soon. Well, in the next several months, and they're a little bit excited. So it's good to have them. And, great group of guys here. Thank y'all. Brian has been with us over 20 years now. He started his career here in Kitty Hawk in 1994 after graduating college from UNC Chapel Hill with a degree in political science. Invaluable. He's my right-hand man. He's my administrative sergeant. Great guy. Lives here in Kitty Hawk and has 2 children. And he recently completed, not too long ago, his master's degree in criminal justice from East Carolina University. Driving back and forth. This was not an online program. So he spent an extensive amount of time dedicated to that, and it's a great achievement. He's recently been teaching up in Virginia, night courses at the TCC, Taiwan Community College, political science courses, and I think once he retires, I think that may be his calling is to teach at the university level, and be great with that. Brian is invaluable. I mean, he's a great employee. He also, North Carolina is split up into, is it 11 regions? 11 regions for the Governor Highway Safety Program. As some of you have heard about the Governor Highway Safety Program, and Brian was recently chosen by the director of the Governor Highway Safety Program, and as the law enforcement liaison. He is the law enforcement liaison for this region, for one of the 11 districts, and he was chosen as the top one and given an award for the law enforcement liaison for the state of North Carolina. And he was presented that award by the Secretary of Transportation, Tata, retired Brigadier General Tata, for North Carolina. And I went to that with him in Concord, North Carolina several weeks ago. And that's pretty hard to get, and I'm very proud of him. He's representing Kitty Hawk Police Department in the town of Kitty Hawk in a positive image, and that's really what counts. And I thank Brian.
Thank you, Chief. The town is very fortunate to have qualified people, dedicated people, and people that want to live here, too. That's important. And congratulations on the new child and the forthcoming one. I'm glad it's you and not me right now.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, Sergeant Strickland, Officer Pennell, and Officer Tyler, being from the law enforcement profession myself, I realize that what you've accomplished is not an easy thing to do while you're still maintaining a full-time job. I commend you. I am proud of you. This council is proud of you, and I know that your chief is proud of you. Congratulations, guys.
Anyone else? All right. Now it's time for public comment. Lynn, is anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir, not for this section, but for the second one at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
I thought of something. I have a couple of comment moments.
Yes, ma'am. You're always welcome to speak at our council.
Since we have all these lovely law enforcement people here, my name is Erica Blyer Harmon. I live on 4533 Ridge Road. We've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of the wildlife officers back on Ridge Road because of the constant rifle and gunshots and things. Well, I just wanted the town council and everybody to know that yesterday, on a Sunday, and I think it's been a week after hunting season, that we had rapid gunfire on Ridge Road somewhere within, I want to say 200, 300 yards away from my house. And all the neighbors heard it. But nobody wanted to go out to find out who was doing it. And it wasn't just a pop, pop, it was bop, 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 bop. So I would like to know as a citizen, you don't want to call 911 every single time that you hear a gunshot, because we're not against guns. We're just against them hitting our houses or our children or our dogs. So we'd like to know what the town council, and I know that the Nature's Conservatory has put in signs saying that you have to be 300 feet away from residential homes, and now since Ridge Road has continued on with Twitty's houses. But there's something going on back there. It's constant. So I would just like to know from the police end of it, what can we do as citizens? Not to panic everybody, but what can we do to prevent somebody from getting shot?
Okay, I think the first answer I'm going to give you is it's 300 yards, not 300 feet. Is that
Okay.
not correct? Okay, so it's
I'm
considerably longer
probably wrong,
distance.
yeah.
The second thing I would suggest, and Chief Johnson, you support this one way or the other, the police department has a non-emergency number. If you can't reach that, then do call, 911, and the dispatcher will get in touch with
There's a
you.
non-emergency number that is through the dispatcher, and you can call the police department, and it's routed to the dispatcher as a non-emergency number.
Did you all get any calls yesterday?
I'll just ask Sergeant to see.
Oh, it went on for hours.
Call us, please. That's
Okay.
all I would recommend, and we'll take care of it. And we have been, as council knows, we have been trying to figure this out.
Figure it out, yeah.
And there's no target shooting in the town of Kitty Hawk.
Oh, cool, because that's what,
You cannot target shoot.
all the neighbors got together and thought perhaps it was somebody target shooting, but it was with a, what do you call it, automatic, something or other, because it went so,
Semi-automatic, I'm
went
sure.
so fast.
It's not permitted by ordinance,
Okay,
target shooting. Only during hunting season is any kind of gunfire permitted.
I thank you for the clarification, and we will follow that, thank you.
They'll be glad to give you the telephone number, and if you would, spread that around.
I will.
All right. Does anyone else wish to speak at this portion of the public comment? All right, let the record show no one else came forward. Next, we have a consent agenda. Are there any changes to the consent agenda? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are no opposed. And nothing was removed, so now we're into planning. And we have two items. We're going to call for public hearing, a text amendment. It has to do with extraterritorial area. Do I hear a motion to call for public hearing?
I move to call for a public hearing for the application to amend Article 5, Division 2, extraterritorial area by eliminating statements regarding a list of commercial recreational uses in the Sound Waters ETJ zoning. The public hearing would be set for March the 3rd, 2014. Is that the
Do we
correct
have a
date?
second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one. All right, the next one is a call for public hearing. It has to do with some updating sections of the Kitty Hawk Town Code. Basically, it's setting some standards for the Board of Adjustment that will bring it in standard with state standards, I believe. Do I hear a motion to call for public hearing?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call for public hearing, text amendment, application to update section 42-72, 42-73, and 42-99 of the Kitty Hawk Town Code with standards for the Board of Adjustments, constructive notice for appeals, and decision-making process for conditional use permits and public hearings.
Do I hear?
March 3rd.
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
You have a second? All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right. The rest of the night goes like this, but it won't. All right, new business. We have some public comment here on public parking. A little bit unusual, what we're trying to do here, I guess, and I'm going to ask John to explain this. We want to extend some parking, and one of the things that make this grant application to do that more favorable is to have some public comment. So, John, would you
Yes,
take it from
Mr.
here?
Mayor, the purpose of this grant application is to apply for funding, CAMA funding, so that we can extend the parking for Lillian Street access, beach access. And we have here a conceptual drawing that's been prepared by Albemarle and Associates for the extension of that parking. The concept here is to add, I think, 16 additional parking spaces, which will be angled on the north side of the existing Lillian Street right-of-way, and the Lillian Street would also be opened up to US 158 as a result of the project. The estimated cost of the project is $70,588, and would like to apply for a public beach and coastal waterfront access grant from the NC Division of Coastal Management. They would provide 75% of the funding, which is $52,941, to construct the parking area. And the town would be required to come up with 25% of the total amount, which is $17,647. The grant application deadline is February the 28th of this year, and therefore we are asking council to go ahead and pass a resolution that you would support submitting the application for this grant and confirm the commitment to providing necessary matching funds for the grant, both of which are requirements of the grant application. Any questions on the proposed project?
I don't have any questions, but I have a few comments I'd like to make about it.
Okay.
First of all, this has been a topic for the Recreation Committee for some time, trying to get a few extra parking places at the Lillian Street beach access. And the reason why this is coming to council now is for this fast track
correct.
grant process. But I would like to mention that it's in the Recreation Master Plan. The Recreation Committee in the past has certainly endorsed and recommended this project. In addition, we did have some high school students who came to council and had done quite a lot of work on getting some figures and facts about how many parking places could be added. And it was a worthwhile project. They had obviously done their homework, and I think it's kind of a nice thing that perhaps they'll actually see something come of what they brought forward to the council.
Yes. Okay.
Anyone else? All right, so now we need to know if no one signed up for this public comment. We're asking, this is kind of an unusual, we're having 3 public comments, but this is specifically to this grant. Does anyone in the audience wish to speak to this public comment regarding possible extension of Lillian Street parking? Let the record show no one came forward. And with that in mind, I do have a question for Willie. There's a big hill there, and that sand is beach sand. It can't be carried just anywhere. What would happen to that?
That sand belongs to NCDOT, and we would have them relocate it to hopefully back on the beach.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear, but I wasn't sure. Okay. We've got several spots we could use it. All right. I think we're ready for a motion. Would someone care to make a motion?
I move to adopt this resolution of support and authorize the town manager to proceed with submission of the application for a public beach and coastal water access grant in the amount of $52,941 for expansion of the Lillian Street beach access parking area.
Do we have a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have a resolution. Now we're going to discuss municipal service districts. And this has to do with the eventual beach nourishment that we're trying to get happen, to have happen here in Kitty Hawk. And I want to lead this with a statement, basically to show what, or kind of give some sense of what we're trying to do. The purpose tonight is to give enough direction to staff to enable putting together the actual package of proposed, I repeat, proposed municipal service districts that will be the subject of a required hearing in the future. Staff has to identify and notify every property owner in any proposed map by mail of the date and time of any hearing. We're not setting that date and time at this meeting. I do propose to discuss probable hearing date, time, and the correct time to present any proposed tax rates associated with a future municipal service district hearing after we decide on the proposed map. John, would you take it from here, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We have had several discussions with council pertaining to the development of the map for municipal service districts. And so we come before you tonight with this iteration that we have shown on the overhead. The map consists of 3 districts, District A, District B, and District C. Just to kind of give a rough idea, District A consists of beachfront properties and properties between the highways, and also commercial properties along the west side of 158. And then we have a second district called District B, which I guess we include what we call the ridge, properties along the ridge in Kitty Hawk. And then west of that is considered to be District C, and that is what we commonly refer to as the village. So those are the three districts that we would like to have on the map, and when it becomes before the public for approval, as you mentioned before, then that would be the map that the council would consider. So, and this is just to establish, like you said, the map that the council prefers to use for that purpose.
Thank you. And just to be clear, this is a proposed map. Once the hearing occurs, essentially, we're going to listen to what the people say, and the map could change, depending upon the feedback we get. So we're proposing a map so it can be put out, people can see what's going on, and for the first time, I think people will be able to see it on YouTube and Channel 20, which is a good thing. And then we still got a long way to go, but staff has a lot of work to do, and that's what we're trying to accomplish tonight. Give them something to work with in preparation for that. All right. Anyone else have a comment on what we're doing tonight and why?
No, sir.
All right, then I'm ready for a motion to approve the recommended motion here.
I move approval of the districts A, B, and C as being, A, B, and C as being designated as the proposed municipal service districts for the purpose of establishing special tax districts that will provide the revenue for the storm damage reduction projects.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, John, staff has something to work with.
Thank you.
Now, in follow-up to that, it's not really on the agenda, but it's a part of what we're doing. I want to talk about what is a municipal district as far as when we need to set it. Would you pass that down to Lynn? So she, wait a minute, let me have that. It's got my notes on it.
All right.
There we go. Pass that to Lynn so she can do it.
Both of these.
Both. And this is for you. If you would get that down there. Now, I want to clear up some apparent confusion over when a proposed municipal district must take effect. The maximum amount of time lapse allowed before contracts or construction must start, and when to present the proposed tax for each proposed district. As we speak to each issue, I ask the attorney and planning director to confirm is correct or incorrect each item before council discussion. First item, as quoted from the law, quote, "The resolution defining a service district shall take effect at the beginning of a fiscal year, commencing after its passage, comma, as determined by city council." I understand this to mean council can hold the hearing, for example, in the year 2014, but designates the beginning to start at a future fiscal year date of our choosing. Steve, is that correct?
That's correct.
Does all of council understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. The second part is, as quoted from the law, no ad valorem tax may be leveled for a partial fiscal year. Beyond that statement, the section dealing with establishment of a municipal service district does not establish when the governing body must propose or establish a tax rate for the districts. Is that correct, Steve?
That is correct. The rates get established as part of your budget-making process and would be part of your budget ordinance when you're going to impose one.
But as a practical matter, when we hold the hearing to establish a district,
You're not going to be talking about the tax in this scenario that you're proceeding with now.
with what we're proceeding with tonight,
That's correct.
yeah. But
But
when we
after
hold the
hearing.
actual hearing, it would be foolish not to have a proposed tax rate.
You can talk about it then, but you won't adopt the tax rate until you do your budget.
Understood. But the people want to know what we're thinking.
Right.
Got you. All right. Third, once the fiscal year start date of a municipal service district is set by council, then actual contracts or construction must begin within 1 year of that start date. Is that also correct?
That's correct. Carol Malonzi at the Institute of Government says it has to be within a year when you levy the tax. And that would be the beginning of your fiscal year after you adopt your budget ordinance setting the tax.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm all clear? Yes, sir. Good. So, my next question is, council, when should we direct staff to prepare for the MSD hearing? Steve, I know you think we're a little bit ahead of schedule on that, but I like to get in front of things. I don't like to get caught behind them if I can.
I don't think you're ahead of things. I had some misunderstanding about what you were going to do tonight as far as the maps. But staff does have to prepare the report and get everything ready. They have to give the notice. And so you need to let them get to work on that, and you've got to establish a date for your public hearing. You don't have to do that tonight, obviously, but and there's no reason not to proceed with it.
Okay. So, if we give staff direction tonight, or maybe at the next meeting, we'll think about that if you folks want to, for example, set the hearing for the fall of this year with the thought that we would be looking at setting the actual start date in a fiscal year 15-16, but we would have the hearing in this year, 14-15.
Correct.
That makes sense.
You can do that.
And that gives, John, that gives staff time to prepare.
Yes.
Because there's quite a lot of work. Every property owner in each district has to be notified of the map, date and time of the hearing, 3 different particulars. Since we've included the whole town, that's every property owner in the town of Kitty Hawk. So that's a lot of work. And we need to give them time to do that. So-
What I would ask is that at the next meeting, that Joe give us a rundown on what that all entails and how long he thinks that it would take for the staff to be ready to take the next step. And at that point, we can have a better idea when we could set that public hearing.
All right.
Because I'm curious to know, I know that it was discussed at a previous meeting that he had to write letters. I think it's important for us to make sure that that letter contains everything that a citizen would need to actually go ahead with comments if they're unable to attend the public hearing, who to send them to on email, the address, when they'd have to be available in terms of getting into the record, because these are the kinds of things when people open up an envelope like that they need to know. So I'd just like to hear from him, this is how long he thinks and what it is that needs to be done and how long he thinks that would take to do.
Can we do that?
Yes, sir. Sure
Okay,
can.
and the short answer to what M is asking on the letter is, council needs to analyze that before it goes out.
Yes, sir.
And I agree with her, so
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so you have kind of a sense of direction. Everybody on council agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I want to add for public consumption, right now, we're in phase 1 of this beach nourishment process. And phase 1 basically is a situation where the engineer has got all 3 of the towns that are involved under contract. The contract, in our case, is the Beach Nourishment Fund coming from the county for this phase of it. And that phase is exploring for sand sources, permitting, engineering, so that we know what the contract, whether it's feasible, how much it would cost, those sort of things. Phase 2, and at this point, that's all we're obligated to. Phase 2 is when the town starts obligating money in addition to what the county has. And at that point, we're going to have the municipal district set up and taxing for this project. We'll have a better idea how much we need to tax and how much each section's going to do. So we'll go from there. All right. Now, we have reports or comments from the town manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. At the last meeting, there was a question about possibility of widening Ridge Road. Willie had the section of Ridge Road surveyed, and it was determined that there is enough easement to do this. The roadway can be widened 1 foot on either side, giving you a 20-foot pavement width. There are some small mailboxes along the roadway there that will have to be moved back, but this can be part of the overlay contract, so it will be of no cost or responsibility of the homeowner. Willie will be obtaining estimates from contractors, and we plan to present a contract for council consideration at the March meeting. So we just wanted to let council know where we're at as far as that goes.
And just for the public's definition, overlay is when he overtops basically an existing road. And when you say you're going to overlay or add this to the overlay schedule, we have a schedule for the town-wide streets, and this will be just added to that. And I suppose that's because hopefully that'll get us a little better price.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right?
All right, the other, I had one other thing I wanted to mention. I just wanted to compliment our Public Works Department for the fine job they did last week in removing the snow from all our parking lots for our buildings here in town. Did a very nice job of getting that done. And I also compliment the police department and the fire department for their operation and their work during the snowstorm and afterwards, which created a somewhat of an emergency situation for us. So I just want to compliment them on that. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Mr. Town Attorney.
Don't have anything else for you tonight.
All right. And now it's time for each of us. Jeff?
I do just have, I'd also like to thank the town staff, as long as the police and the fire department. My mother lives at home by herself, and it was nice to know they came by and checked on her emergency key and checked to see that she was okay the morning after the storm. I'm sure a lot of the residents that have these lock boxes were checked on. I just wanted to thank you very much for that.
Okay.
My thanks also to the police, fire, and public works departments. And also, Mr. Mayor, January 16th, I attended my first meeting of the Government Education Access Channel Committee meeting. Melody was also in attendance. New officers were elected. This is an energetic group. There's some new projects on board for the future. I've got an orientation coming up where I get to tour the studios, and I'm very, very glad to be a part of this group.
Good. Thank you. Yep.
I don't have anything.
All right. Well, the only thing I'll add is essential services through the snowstorm continued. I haven't heard of any police cruisers speeding out or anything like that, so they kept us safe. And the state went along and scrubbed off all the bumps on the rumble strips, but but they still didn't get widen out or scrape off that grass yet. They've got that to do. But now they got a clear deck to do it, so there should be no problem to get her done. But-
It's past my turn, but can I just say something?
course.
I was not here last, for Snowmageddon, so I don't know exactly what was going on, but I also would just like to thank all of our people because Public Works, Fire, Police, you're always there when we need you. And there have been times when I have been here and needed you, and you can always depend on you to do an excellent job. So, thanks.
I agree. All right. Now it's time for public comment, and I believe we do have someone signed up.
Yes, sir. Erica?
Like Rocky Blyer from Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my dad. He's my second cousin. Anyway, Erica Blyer Harmon. I live on 4533 Ridge Road, and I'm here to talk about the widening of Ridge Road. I believe many, many months ago, before the Twittyville was there, we asked for the road to be widened. So we're looking forward to having the widening of the road, because right now, you can't get two tiny Toyotas together, much less a dump truck, a van, a police cruiser, an ambulance, and another car. It's very hard. So we look forward to the widening. But we also would like to request that two things. The public needs to have Kitty Hawk come and cut some of the shrubbery down around the curves. The reason I say this is every day when I come home at 4:20, there's little kids on a skateboard. And it's right at the crest of the hill. It's Noah Snyder's kids. And they're right at the crest of the hill, and you can't see them. There are cars that are flying through there at 50 miles an hour. And I know our wonderful policemen have put that little sign there saying, "You are going so fast," but it doesn't, at the end of the hill, it makes no difference. They've already escalated up to the speed that they're going. I'm not gonna point any fingers, because I don't know who they are unless I step in front of the car, and I probably wouldn't be here. So I just need the Public Works to get some of that shrubs around the corner for the safety of the children. And then at the cul-de-sac, which is, I understand that the Ridge Road expansion is going to stop at the cul-de-sac at Beecham Lane, right there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay. We haven't seen the plan, so.
Okay, if you could put a stop sign there, that would stop 90% of the speeding people, because they go from the stop sign down at the cemetery and escalate all the way up. We've asked for that stop sign before. I'm asking again, even if it's a double stop sign. Coming from the new road, I don't care if it's a stop sign in front of my driveway. It's got to be done. If some particular person could just spend one day there, I mean, and see the amount of traffic and the amount of speed that goes through there, they would be very concerned. We have, I believe it's 19 homes now that Mr. Twitty has put in there, and they all have little children. They're all playing in the road. They're all out there playing with their basketballs, or the little kids on their little tricycles. Do we have to wait until one of those kids are killed before we do something? And I'm not trying to make it dramatic. I don't have any children. All I have is dogs, and they're in my yard. But if someone, Jeff, if you would come out there one day and just sit at the end of my driveway and watch the activity of the children and the activity of the cars, it's unbelievable and very scary. And I believe my next neighbor will attest to how fast they start off at the bottom of Ridge Road. So in respect with widening the road, we're concerned that it's going to widen the travel and the speed. So if you all could please consider something in your plans to widen it. And again, we're not against the widening. There are neighbors that are shaking their head or wondering why you're taking half of their front yards, but you know, that's a right of way. So, and everything is for a purpose, and we will stand by you. And we know that Mr. Twitty is planning to put more homes on that road. And we hope that with the future of those homes and that traffic, that now it is proven that we have more traffic than we thought we would. It's even going to be more with the houses that he plans to put on the south side. So if the board and whoever wants to come down there, I'll put a bench up for you so you can watch. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak?
Gail Riley.
Yes.
Hi, I just just have Ridge Road, 4356 Ridge Road. Anyway, I just have one question. When we were here about a year and a half ago, before Twittyville, and we had expressed concern about how that the road should be widened, we were told that it was wide enough and there was no cause for concern. So my question is now, what prompted this all of a sudden that we need to widen it? You know, did anybody, there has to be some motive why it's getting widened now and not before the development was built.
Well, the only answer I can try to give you on that is, when the plans came up to do the development, the plans that council would be looking at dealt only with the development, not anything external to that development. So at that particular time, widening the road was not considered as a part of that. It was not under consideration by council. Since that time, we've had comments from police, persons like yourself, that have brought it to our attention that, okay, we got one end of it fixed, the other end's wide, but somewhere in between, we need help. And council's kind of got its feet on the ground now and been able to say, all right, it's time to do something. And that's really where it's at.
Okay, thank you.
So we're doing something. And on the subject of speeding, that sort of thing, Chief Johnson and Willie, and I know there was a fence. I went out and looked. I know some of those survey markers they're really in what looks like somebody's yard, but it's not somebody's yard. However, when the road was built, apparently, where that survey marker is so deep into what looks like somebody's yard, the road was actually put to the other edge of the survey marker. So there is one point, Willie tells me, that the 1 foot on each side will actually be 2 foot on one side. They'll work it out. But that's a road right-of-way. And a lot of people, if you go down West Kitty Hawk Road, if the state were to mark that off, you'd be surprised how many of the older homes, been here forever, don't have a yard.
So we're not contesting the markers. We're just contesting the results of which we want the larger road. We just want you to think a little bit forward of the protection of the people that are walking their dogs, their kids, and their tricycles and such forth.
And that'll be done.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Chief, would you and Willie maybe give us a report next month? All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at this? Yes, sir. You know, this is scary. Everybody's got an iPad, so they can't make
We don't know.
I'm Donnie King.
Yeah, we don't have them, but they do, right?
Excuse me. I'm Donnie King. I own Ocean Boulevard Restaurant and also a group called Better Beaches, OBX. And in consideration of the creation of the new wastewater pump stations and the coordination with our broader community regarding beach nourishment, I want to thank you all for carrying on the efforts to help mitigate storm damage and also for helping secure a better future for our community. So thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't mind the iPad at all.
Yeah. We ought to get some more for you.
All right, only good comments allowed.
Yeah.
All right, anyone else? Let the record show, no one else came forward. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, folks, for coming.